friends, this is Ron White speaking with you this evening. This video is about mortgage fraud. Actually, it's a report prepared by the staff of Senator Dianne Feinstein, a senior senator from California. It's the result of a report that her staff compiled, and it's how to protect the American dream of home ownership. And I'm just going to read some words from it and share with you what that means with respect to getting financing for your home. It says, "Dear friends, millions of Americans are suffering from the foreclosure crisis. Many are at risk of losing their most valuable asset, their homes. This rampant foreclosure problem has had serious repercussions not only for individual families, but also for communities across the country, and it has taken a major toll on the health of our nation's economy. The crisis has its roots in subprime lending practices. These practices include extending loans to people with less than optimal credit histories and burdening them with loans that look good on the surface but carry hidden costs and skyrocketing interest rates. The unprecedented increase in foreclosures, especially in states like California, Nevada, and Arizona, that have borne the brunt of the housing crisis. Has given rise to another problem. As people desperately try to stay in their homes, there has been a substantial increase in mortgage fraud perpetrated by unlicensed and unregulated brokers trying to take advantage of the homeowners' anxieties. The sheer number of homes moving through the foreclosure process has allowed more bad actors to slip through the cracks and profit off of an overburdened system. Part of the problem is that there has been no uniform standards in the mortgage industry, only a thin patchwork of regulation by the states. In July 2008, Congress passed and the President signed into law comprehensive legislation to address this crisis. I'm proud to report that the legislation includes the Safe Mortgage Licensing Act, which I introduced in February 2008 with Senator Mel Martinez, Republican of Florida. This law sets national licensing and oversight standards for America's mortgage brokers and lenders. On July 31st, 2010, California enacted the standards mandated by the Safe Mortgage Licensing Act to ensure that all brokers and lenders in the state are licensed professionals. This means that homeowners in California are better protected and have more access to information about their mortgage brokers than ever before. I believe this is an important first step toward removing bad actors from the industry and toward restoring the American dream of home ownership. The subprime mortgage crisis. America's ongoing subprime mortgage crisis first emerged in 2006 with the bursting of the housing bubble. As home prices declined and mortgages adjusted upward, millions of Americans found themselves at risk of losing their homes. This was particularly true of borrowers with lesser credit histories who had signed on to the subprime loans. Unlike in the boom times, when housing values were rising, these borrowers found it increasingly difficult or impossible to refinance their loans and were unable to afford their escalating monthly payments. This led to record defaults and foreclosures, many driven by loan interest rates adjusting higher and higher. The damage has been widespread. In 2010, more than 2.8 million American homes were subject to foreclosure, an increase of 123% from 2007. The impact of the subprime mortgage crisis has now spread globally. Even after receiving assistance from the federal government, banks in the United States continue to write down losses originating from home loans. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac remain in conservatorship, and debate has now focused on when, not if, these housing giants will be reformed. In the aftermath of the bubble bursting, we learned that many homeowners had been sold mortgages they couldn't afford because their financial qualifications were never verified. Others were enticed to refinancing their homes with bogus offers of quick cash from crooked lenders without being told that their subprime loan rates would reset. Though not the main culprit, the extension of liar loans and no documentation loans to irresponsible or uninformed home buyers exacerbated the problem. Bad actors were able to game the system and profit from making loans that were doomed to fail. As the foreclosure crisis continues to unravel, the opportunities for these unscrupulous mortgage lenders increases because homeowners are desperate. Increasing accountability and safety in this vital part of the American economy is an integral part of the economic recovery. The Safe Mortgage Licensing Act, in concert with other reforms, raises the standards and rearranges the incentives in the mortgage industry in a way that will help restore confidence in the housing market. Unscrupulous lending practices. President Obama with Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke, who has been credited with pulling the economy back from the brink of depression. The human toll. Behind the foreclosure numbers and the headlines are real people who have suffered greatly as a result of the crisis. Many of them, such as retirees Charles and Patricia Simmons of Los Angeles, have been preyed upon by unscrupulous mortgage brokers who engage in predatory lending practices. The story of the Simmons is a cautionary tale. The couple have lived in their home in Crenshaw Heights near Inglewood since 1969. After Mrs. Simmons suffered a stroke, they refinanced several times to help defray medical expenses. In 2007, they decided to finance out of a $550,000 loan that had an 8% interest rate. About this time, they received a cold call from a broker who told them they could get a $629,000 loan with cash back. The broker told them the loan had a 4.5% adjustable interest rate. They were also told that monthly payments would be $2,000 after 4 initial monthly payments of $5,300 to lower the interest rate. Mrs. Simmons said she trusted the broker and signed the papers in August of 2007. Unfortunately, the actual loan terms included an 11.2 adjustable interest rate, $5,300 payments every month, and no cash back. An escrow official would later tell Mrs. Simmons that any cash she hoped to pull out of the loan had to go to closing costs. Closing costs totaled nearly $24,000, with $19,500 going to the broker. I really feel misled by this broker, said Mrs. Simmons. This is predatory lending. They should not be allowed to take advantage of the elderly the way they've been doing. We're in a hole and we're trying to get out of it, and we put our trust in these people. The episode sparked a financial crisis for the Simmons, who were forced to dip into their life savings to pay the mortgage. They began to fall behind by $4,000 every month and were at risk of losing their home of nearly 30 years. Fortunately, the Simmons were able to work with their bank and get out from under the predatory loan terms. Another story, that of the McFadden family of Fresno, stands out. Steve McFadden worked on an assembly line, and his wife, Balvina, was an office assistant. The couple had 2 teenage daughters, and the money was tight. When the McFaddens saw the listed price of their dream home, they thought it was out of their reach. The year before, a bank had told them their finances could only support a mortgage of roughly half of what they would need to purchase a home. But an unlicensed broker promised them that their credit wasn't a problem and steered them into 2 adjustable rate mortgages, which allowed them to buy the home with a minimal down payment. The couple set aside their concerns and signed a loan at the urging of the broker, who pocketed a considerable fee. But almost as soon as they moved into their new home, they were overwhelmed by enormous monthly payments and unexpected tax bills. When that story came to Senator Feinstein's attention, the family was behind on their payments and facing foreclosure. Fortunately, Senator Feinstein was able to help the family obtain more reasonable terms for their mortgage and save their home. But untold thousands of other Americans have been victimized by unscrupulous lending practices, which led Senator Feinstein to work with a key Republican colleague on legislation to police the mortgage lending industry and protect American homeowners and prospective home buyers. The McFadden family of Fresno was given misleading information about the affordability of their mortgage when they found their dream home. Safe Mortgage Licensing Act. After hearing stories like the Simmons and the McFaddens, Senator Feinstein teamed up with Senator Mel Martinez in February of 2008 to introduce housing reform legislation aimed at curbing predatory lending practices. The Safe Mortgage Licensing Act is intended to address growing reports of abusive lending practices by unscrupulous mortgage industry participants. It will ensure that all mortgage professionals are trained in federal lending laws, ethics, consumer protection, and the subprime mortgage marketplace. It also will allow consumers at no charge to verify actors in the mortgage lending industry through a newly created nationwide registry. The Safe Mortgage Licensing Act ensures that all residential mortgage loan brokers and lenders meet basic professional standards, requires brokers and lenders to obtain a state license, requires states to establish minimum standards for applicants, including no felony conviction for the past 7 years, no similar license revoked, demonstrated record of financial responsibility, meeting minimum net worth or bonding requirement, fulfilling education requirements, 20 hours of approved courses to include at least 3 hours related to federal laws, 3 hours on ethics and consumer protection and mortgage lending, and 2 hours on the subprime mortgage marketplace, and passing a written exam, minimum score of 75% required to pass. Requires state regulators to develop satisfactory licensing systems by January 1st, 2011. As of June 2010, all 50 states, the District of Columbia, the Virgin Islands, and Guam have enacted legislation to this effect. Enables consumers at no charge to verify whether their broker or lender has a state license or is employed by a federally regulated bank. Act cleaning up the industry. Top mortgage fraud states in 2009, of course, California, Florida, Georgia, Texas, Arizona, Colorado, Oregon, Illinois, Michigan, New York led the nation. Fiscal year 2009, the percent of FBI pending mortgage fraud investigations by region: the West 29%, the Southeast 24%, South Central 11%, North Central 22%, Northeast 14%. The rampant mortgage fraud problem. The FBI has analyzed the growth of mortgage fraud schemes as more and more homes slip into foreclosure. The FBI's 2009 report, which was published in June 2010, revealed disturbing trends in mortgage and fraud cases, including a 71% increase in pending FBI mortgage fraud investigations between 2008 and 2009. California had the highest rate of mortgage fraud in the nation in 2009. 7 out of the top 10 cities for mortgage fraud are located in California, with Stockton being the most vulnerable, and the prevalence of new mortgage fraud schemes is increasing rapidly. In June of 2010, federal authorities filed charges against 1,200 bad actors in the mortgage industry accused of perpetrating $2.3 billion in mortgage fraud schemes. The potential financial windfall from mortgage fraud ensures that more and more cases like this one will be uncovered. In 2010, the FBI reported 3,000 ongoing investigations. Some of the most prevalent mortgage fraud schemes include: let me get a paper to let you know what we can do about your situation with some contact information, because there is going to be some litigation filed against these fraudulent mortgage brokers and the banks that bought their paper and gave you the loan when they should have. And there will be a lawsuit filed in federal court, and I want you to have the contact information and the requirements of what you need to join this lawsuit. Doesn't matter how long it's been since you got your mortgage and you've been foreclosed. Doesn't matter. We can file the lawsuit. Hang on 1 second, please. At the end of Senator Feinstein's report, I'm going to give you some contact information and let you know what you can do to get foreclosure justice for those of you that have been fraudulently foreclosed, evicted from the home, and lost the money that you put into it. Foreclosure rescue schemes. The unprecedented number of homeowners looking for affordable loan refinancing has led bad actors to take advantage by misrepresenting the terms of contracts or charging exorbitant fees for loan modifications that are never completed. Loan origination schemes. Bad actors will falsify documentation required to obtain loans, including income statements, employment, and credit history. This can include using stolen identities. Fraudulent appraisal schemes. Bad actors engaged in the flipping of homes will collude with appraisers to report fraudulent home valuations that increase their profit margins. Perpetrators will also convince struggling families to sell their homes well below market value, then turn around and flip the home for a substantially higher price. By implementing higher mortgage industries, states will better protect already vulnerable homeowners from predatory lenders, unscrupulous appraisers, and other bad actors. As we sort through the foreclosure crisis, it is imperative and timely that these added safeguards be implemented. And you can see that in California, the mortgage fraud risk index was Stockton was number 1 worst, Modesto was number 2, Las Vegas, Paradise, Nevada number 3, Riverside, San Bernardino, Ontario, California number 4, Merced, California number 5, Reno, Sparks, Nevada number 6. This is a national ranking. Vallejo, Fairfield, Connecticut number 7, Bakersfield, California number 8, Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Florida number 9, and Fresno, California number 10. Most of the baddest places were in California, but a couple were in Nevada and one in Florida. The FBI and the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, have compiled the following set of guidelines to help consumers avoid the risk of falling prey to mortgage fraud. For more information, or if you feel you may be the victim of mortgage fraud, please contact your local FBI office. Get referrals for real estate and mortgage professionals when you want to buy or sell a home. And once you do, check out their licenses with state, county, or city regulatory agencies. Most of these people are exceedingly honest and above board. It's just a small percentage who have given the overall profession a black eye. Do your own research into what other homes in the neighborhood have sold for. That's what is called comps, comparable homes selling in your neighborhood, to see what price is within a reasonable range for your home. Hire a properly qualified and licensed home inspector to carefully inspect the property. Fraudulent appraisal schemes work by lowballing the valuation of a victim's home in order to generate a wider profit margin upon resale. Hiring a qualified home inspector to conduct your appraisal will ensure impartiality and reduce the risk of fraud. Beware of no money down loans. These are gimmicks used to entice people to buy a home they really can't afford. Don't let anyone, that is a realtor, mortgage broker, talk you into making a false statement on your loan application, like overstating your income or lying about where your down payment is coming from. Never sign a blank document or a document containing blank lines. Be sure to read and review all loan documents signed at closing. If you don't understand what you're signing, get an attorney who can review the documents for you. Don't be pressured into signing a contract. Take your time to shop around and compare prices and houses. Beware of lenders or investors that tell you they are your only chance of getting a loan or owning a home. Beware of emails or web-based ads from companies claiming to be able to eliminate your mortgage debt for an upfront paperwork fee. This is a scam. Take advantage of the Safe Mortgaging Licensing Act. Well, that is all of Senator Feinstein's report, and I'm going to give you an address because, as I said, if you're a lender, bought fraudulent paper from a mortgage broker or a real estate broker as to your income, as to your credit history, as to what the interest rate will be, you can sue that lender. You can also sue the mortgage broker for fraud. And this is the contact information that I want you to have. It says, foreclosed, evicted, you probably can sue your lender. First, you have to gather all of your paperwork, mortgage application, mortgage agreement, closing agreement, PMI application, and PMI contract if applicable. PMI means private mortgage insurance, which is required if you have less than a 20% down payment for your loan. Send all your paperwork to www.m-l-compliance-company, preferably as a PDF, but they will accept paper copies. They will charge you $69 for a forensic audit, which will tell you of all state and federal law violations, giving you the right to sue lender and the proof that you would need to collect damages. Then contact me at 334-232-4573 so that I may enroll you in the lawsuit. The enrollment fee is $100. This lawsuit will be filed in federal court in Washington, D.C. Doesn't matter where you live. And we'll need to know who your lender is, of course, and that will be included in the forensic audit. And you need to have that forensic audit. They're going to send you an analysis of your forensic audit at your email address, at which time you will forward that forensic audit to me and make your payment of $100. You can either send me a money order for $100 made out to Ronald L. White, J.D., or you can go to my PayPal account, which is Ronald L. White, and pay the $100 that way. Then contact me at 334-232-4573. The key to eligibility to sue will be the forensic audit of all your paperwork. Damages will be substantial as fraud has been committed against you, destroying your credit for years to come. I look forward to helping you get justice. My mailing address is Ronald L. White, J.D., P.O. Box 722, Eufaula, Alabama. That's EUFAULA. And the zip code is 36072. My email address is ronaldlee.wht661@gmail. We're having a meeting on May 29th at 6 p.m. at the Eufaula Carnegie Library, which is located at 217 North Eufaula Avenue, upstairs in the auditorium. If you plan to attend, come early because the auditorium can only hold 100 people by order of the State Fire Marshal. And we're going to try to turn the room over every 15 minutes. And if there's several hundred people, try to get them all processed in that 2-hour window. Now, there was a second meeting that was mistakenly scheduled for June the 1st, which is on a Sunday, and the library is not open on the 1st. So if we need to have another meeting, we will reschedule that at a later date and let you know. But please feel free to to give me a call and ask any questions that you need to ask. I have another lawsuit in that same federal court in Washington, D.C. for discrimination for not only the black farmers, the female farmers, and the Latino farmers, but anybody who felt like they've been discriminated against by the USDA in trying to obtain farm loans in order to buy land or to maintain the farming operation that your family had. Even white farmers who come from the wrong side of the track have been victims of discrimination. So all are welcome to participate in that lawsuit as well. You may confirm that that lawsuit has been filed in the federal court in Washington. The case number is 114CV00478. The plaintiff in the case is myself, Ronald L. White, lead plaintiff, and others, versus Tom Vilsack, Secretary of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And as I say, all victims of discrimination are welcome regardless of your color or your ethnic origin. So feel free to check on that, and if you feel like you've been a victim of discrimination, that case was filed on March 21st of this year, and until we reach a settlement agreement, probably which will occur in the next couple of years, you can enroll in that lawsuit, which is only a $25 enrollment fee. However, you will have to prove that your father or mother were victims of discrimination, or you yourself were victims of discrimination. And the way you can do that is have an affidavit signed by someone who will be old enough to have knowledge of the alleged discrimination and the year and date approximately when it occurred. And that will meet the substantial evidence standard that they're looking for to prove that the discrimination took place against you or your family. Once again, you can contact me at the phone number mentioned with the foreclosure lawsuit. But that's all I have for you, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. Let me hear from you. For those of you who live close enough to make the meeting on May the 29th, feel free to come, and we'll try to accommodate everybody. And if you can't make the meeting, just take the information from this video and contact us that way and get all of your paperwork. You'll need all of your paperwork to get it scanned into a PDF or to send it to the compliance loan company out in Beaverton, Oregon. And I will show you how to get in touch with them if you need to mail it. I'll show you in part 2 of this litigation videos. Thank you.